What's up, guys? Ainsley here. So in this video we're gonna talk about your first load as a trucker. Let's talk. So when I got my first load as a trucker, I was very nervous, because here it is that this is, product that a shipper has placed on in my care, so to speak, and I have to take it from point A to point B. And to me that was scary because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to mess up or do anything like that. And I wish I had a video like this to actually give me some pointers in what to consider. So I have a few pointers that now that I've been in the business, and I'm not saying that I'm a guru, but these are the things that I've learned over the year or so. And I just wanted to actually point that out to you. Okay, so I know when I get a load, the first thing that I consider is distance from point A to point B. Point A would be the shipper. The shipper would put their product in my trailer, whether it's a dry van trailer, which actually, suggests, as it states, is dry, or a refrigerated trailer, which it's refrigerated, meaning that it needs to stay cold. Whatever the product is, I consider point A to point B. Now, let's say, for example, between point A and point B, it is 600 miles. I know within myself, I can easily drive 600 miles in one day. Now, a couple of things that I factor in is this. If I want to drive that hard or get there as quickly as I possibly can, I will, I know that I have to drive, for instance, I will break it down into two. I will drive 300 miles or even 250 before I take a break, and then, drive the remaining amount. If there is a crunch time per se, I will, for instance, I would drive a little bit more before I take a break. But, no matter what it is, you have to consider the distance between the shipper and the consignee. All right, because that will determine how long it's going to take you to get to the consignee to deliver that. Okay, so the second thing that I want to talk about is securing your load. A lot of times shippers, they want to make sure that the load stays in place. And as truck drivers, you want to take steps to make sure that your load is in place, so that you when it gets to the consignee or where it needs to get to, it will be intact. I would try to drop some pictures in to let you know what I'm talking about. There are load bars and load straps that you can use to secure the load, so that in transit the product won't shift. All right, another thing to consider as well, and this recently happened to me, and I could kick myself for it because I was not careful enough to take a look and just make sure that everything was copacetic. I end up wasting like over 5 hours trying to get that rectified. So your bill of ladings, or often they will, in the trucking realm, you will hear it as the BOL. Check that, because if you're knowing you're going to, for instance, say you're going to 123 Main Street in Cincinnati or whatever like that, and you're taking trailer number 1050, for example, make sure all of that corresponds to what is on the bill of lading, because when you get to the shipper, it's going to be a hassle for you to when you get to the consignee, it's going to be a hassle to call back the shipper, or maybe call back your dispatcher to have them send over the proper information to the consignee so that you can be checked in for whatever. So I recently went through that, and it took them about 5 hours to rectify the whole thing. So, I wasted a long time, and it was a drop and hook. So that was supposed to be easy. 1, 2, 3. I wasn't supposed to be at the yard no longer than, 30 minutes or so, but I ended up being there for about 5 hours. So I learned my lesson there. All right, so another thing to consider, at least for me, I consider the time of day per se. Now, and I guess this topic I was thinking about creating a whole video for it alone, and it's time of day in terms of driving. Personally, I've asked a lot of truckers that I'm around, hey, what time of day do you like to drive? And I would say 99% of them, they prefer to drive at night. Now, for me, I believe that nighttime, I should be in my bed. You can call it what you want. You can call it lazy, but I rather drive when it's light out. Even though in these videos I don't wear my glasses, I wear glasses. So, for me, I can see everything. Now, can I drive at night? Absolutely, I can drive at night. And additionally to that, another thing to consider is the amount of hours you have left. If you don't have hours, then, and this perhaps will vary from either owner operators or company drivers, naturally you have to keep abreast on the amount of hours that you have left, because sometimes, your dispatcher or fleet manager, however you want to call it, they just want to move loads. Really and truly, some of them really don't care about you. They just want to move loads. So you have to stay abreast and say, hey, I have no time left or anything like that. And they will have to figure it out. But you have to stay on top of your hours to make sure, and not just your daily hours, also your weekly hours as well. Because, if you're watching this video, if you're new, you get 70 hours for the week, mandated by the federal government. And, sometimes you can burn it out within, 4 days or whatever like that. 5 days or what have you. So, you may not have enough hours to actually get on a particular load, and then you will have to sit and do a 34-hour reset to get back your hours, or you can run on recaps, and that's for another video. I'll explain that later on as well, but just for now, another thing to consider. Show of hands of anybody who actually still uses a map, like a regular map. I'll wait. I don't use, but I try to, because with technology now you can just jump on the GPS and you figure out where you're going. But also bearing in mind that taking a load from one point to the next, the route is very important. Time of day is also important, because certain times of day you'll have rush hour depending on the city that you're going through, so you also have to account for that as well. So hang on, let's fix this here. So you have to account for that as well. So that's something to consider when it comes on to getting your load or delivering your load on time. Finally, I just want to wrap up this video with a couple of things. One, I mentioned a couple of names. If you're a newbie, you may not understand what I mean, so I just wanted to clarify them. I either post it here or somewhere down here. Shipper. Who is a shipper? The shipper is the company that wants their product to go from their warehouse to perhaps another one of their customers' warehouse. So they're shipping, or should I say their intention is to get their product from one warehouse, which is usually theirs, to the customer they intend. The consignee is the person or company that you're going to be delivering said product to. So the shipper puts the product on your truck, you take it from the shipper's location and you take it to where it needs to be delivered. That person or that company is known as the consignee. All right. Now another thing is you hear me say BOL, or it stands for bills of lading. That's essentially a receipt that you got when you picked up the shipment for the you know, the products that you get, whatever it may be. So that's a receipt to say, okay, Ainsley, you got whatever, and the contents of the shipment will be there for you. You will naturally have to sign because you received it, and this is what you present to the consignee as well when you get there. Okay, that's all I got for you guys, and I wanted to wrap up this video again. I'll just have some clips of my drive through Virginia Beach and drive into Delaware